I'm talking to Anne Blaine on January 21, 2000.
Hello.
Hi, is this Anne?
Mm-hmm.
Anne, it's Michael. Michael, how are you?
I'm okay.
Can you talk?
Yeah, sort of.
Okay. Aside from your voice, do you feel up to it, aside from your voice?
Yeah.
Okay. It's been a go-around on the email.
I know.
Although I like email because I can do just that easily.
Yeah, I don't mind it for little quick things, but for actually getting into detail.
Yeah, I understand that. Oh, no, I understand that. I prefer to. Artmenius wanted to be interviewed via email.
Who did?
Artmenius.
Did?
Yeah, and it worked out kind of well, except he told me that by email, and I said, well, okay, I've not done this before, but okay. So I wrote out, I don't know, this huge slew of questions from my standard shtick, and because I was typing, I had a chance to make them even worse, and then he wrote me back, and he said, I'll answer your questions, but I had in mind that we'd do one question and answer at a time. And I said, oh my God,
it's going to go on forever.
It would take years. Exactly.
He's a funny guy.
Anyway, can I record this? What's that?
He's a great storyteller.
He did wonderfully. I mean, he really got into talking about things, and he said he types faster than he speaks and prefers to do it. And
yeah, he's not the most sociable guy in the world.
Interesting. Can I tape record this? I need to ask.
Sure.
Okay. So what was your immediate, when somebody wanted to talk to you about the Folk Alliance, what was your...
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
It's been an interesting experience.
Really? Yeah. What stands out? How so?
Oh, God. All kinds of things.
Okay.
I mean, for starters, I'm Canadian.
Yeah.
And Elaine and Clark, I mean, she bugged us and bugged us and bugged us.
About?
To
participate, right.
In the first place.
Yeah.
I used to work for the Vancouver Folk Music Festival.
Right.
And she wanted Gary or I to go down. Gary used to run the festival, and I was sort of next in line. But he was going to a conference in Europe. And it was, when I ended up running and getting on the steering committee, I don't even know why the hell I did that, except that there were only 7 Canadians, and we were sort of only one of the only outfits that could afford to send anybody at that point.
Right, just 7 of you from out of the whole 130 or so?
Yeah, I think there's 132 or 134 there.
Yeah. It was around there.
And 6 out of the 7 were from the West Coast.
Okay.
Anyway, I went to that first steering committee meeting and came out and went to my room and cried.
Why was that?
Because
that was still in Malibu or back
in Malibu.
Okay. Why was that?
Because all of the personalities and the tension and the power struggle in the room, people were wanting to already they felt that their organization already should serve this purpose.
Should serve what?
The purpose that the Folk Alliance was meant to serve.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting. And I'm not usually into confrontation.
Right. So how did the steering committee end up moving along? I mean, who kind of took the reins of that?
We decided to get a facilitator.
Yeah.
And that was the best decision we ever made.
Right.
And then we were all dedicated. We were all committed to it.
What is it that you... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
What is it that you wanted to do? I mean, what was if you could have had your druthers?
In terms of setting it up?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really have any structure or anything like that.
Right.
I mean, I'd never really been involved in the formation of anything. I never looked at how things are really structured.
Right.
For me, it was really interesting because where I was working was in the process of falling apart through a lot of this. Not so much at that point, but a few years later.
You mean Vancouver?
Yeah.
Okay.
And because it was never set up with a board that functioned.
Okay.
And it had one person who had absolute control. And nobody could check what he was doing. And so this whole thing was really interesting in the long run to me.
Right.
And definitely, I thought it was a good idea to have an organization where people could, that represented our field, because
Sure.
it's not part of the mainstream.
Yeah.
Thousands of people make their living in it.
Right.
Without mainstream support.
Yeah.
And we all, especially out here, but I mean, it's sort of going to these things and having people stand up and just say all the different things that they do. A lot of people are involved in more than one organization or event or whatever.
Right.
They do radio shows and they write and they organize and blah, blah. The energy that they put out.
Yeah.
But a lot of people just feel isolated where they are because they are so busy concentrating and just trying to get by.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely thought that it was a good thing to get started.
And what did you hope to get out of it, either for yourself or Vancouver?
Well, for the festival, just more connections.
Right.
And also we had at the time a reputation for what we were doing. So, I believe that it doesn't matter whether you're large or small. You have things to give.
Mm-hmm.
And things to learn.
Right.
So,
You did?
I'd met a lot, over the phone, and even at the festival here, I'd met a number of people that were there.
Right.
Over the years.
What did it, what kind of issues played themselves out over that first organizational year? Not just in Malibu, but
one of the things at the very beginning was that we decided we were going to have, I think, 12 people.
Right.
And they voted in people from a couple of couples, and not the others. And one couple insisted that they came as a unit, and we ended up having 3 couples.
With one vote? Right.
No, they each had a vote.
Oh, they each had a vote.
But they would cancel each. It was interesting because each couple had a totally different dynamic. That was bizarre.
Oh, okay.
So one couple would cancel each other out a lot.
Right.
And one would just sort of do the party line, and then one would they'd work as some kind of unit trying to circumvent everything. We'd take a vote, we discuss, and then we'd take a vote. Then they would try and bring it back up. It was pretty amazing. And, there was sort of East versus West, and which I found really interesting.
Well, that's intriguing. Why would that?
It was a totally different style.
Really?
Of behavior and meeting behavior.
And you, of course, for those organizational meetings, had to go to Philly with
we were in Philly.
These quintessential East Coasters, I think. Yeah. Diane and Bob Cohen.
Yeah, that was pretty evident. Mark Moss, that was pretty evident.
Right.
And, I mean, Clark and Elaine are from the West Coast, and they're pretty intense.
Yeah.
To say the least.
Right.
But in a different way.
Yeah.
And I just never really seen this kind of dynamic before.
Uh-huh.
It's funny because Shelley Romalis is the other Canadian that was on at the same time, and we used to compare notes because we were both stunned by a lot of this. It's like, holy shit. Oh, we're here to discuss. Come on. Anyway, I think that in the end it worked really well, and we did pound out a lot of stuff.
Uh-huh.
And we were certainly, we slept, ate, and drank it.
Yeah.
Because we were all staying at Bob and Diane's, or most of us were.
Right.
And so, at meals, it never ended.
Sure. Well, and I think...
to know each other quite well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm certainly, I hated Jim Hirsch at the beginning, and we're really good pals now.
Yeah, Jim seems to push lots of people's buttons. I picked that up. I mean...
He does, but he's, I don't know. I mean, like I said, the things were falling apart here, and I used to work with someone who's basically a real total autocrat and a big jerk in a lot of ways, but, man, he gets things done. I don't think it's that he has to do it in the way he does.
Right.
But it certainly... Things happen when they're around, and Jim's that kind of person.
Well, another aspect of Jim that I think sets people off is that, quite apart from personal presentational style, an example of this is that Jim was very helpful to me. I must have talked to him for 2 hours on the phone, and he was at work. And I think he referred to the music he presents and teaches as product about 60 times in the 2 hour. The product.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so he's definitely, he's business.
Yeah.
And it's one of the big things, and he and Mark kept saying, and actually Philadelphia kept saying, we don't need this. The two guys, not Bob and Diane, but there were two, Bob, who's no longer living, and David Baskin.
I don't know them. They weren't on the steering committee?
Mm-hmm. No, they were at
Malibu. Okay.
And they kept saying at the initial meeting, we don't need this.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need this. In fact, they've continued to say that a number of times.
And what was their rationale? As far as you
know, they're Philadelphia.
Oh, I see. Because they're hooked up with everybody.
They're Philly. They're highly successful. They understand why everybody can't do their model.
Okay. And Jim
Jim says, he's got big ambitions for the school.
Yeah.
But, that was 89. That was quite a while ago. And Mark kept saying, well, with the sing out is this. And I'm thinking, okay, there's 130 people here telling you you're not.
Uh-huh.
Why can't you get that?
So Mark was kind of opposed to getting the organization?
They weren't opposed. They just sort of felt that their organization should be the organization. Was already there in place, and so that's what it should be.
And it was their organization?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Jim was somewhat like that, too.
Well,
I don't remember that, but...
Yeah, I mean, he certainly didn't bring it up. I think he did say he was doubtful at first, but that's how he put it. Obviously...
and he's definitely,
Yeah?
It's funny, because we took a big picture of everybody at the beginning, and I was thinking that and then they sent me a copy after, and I was thinking, okay, I mean, this could only be folkies, or at the time, computer nerds. Because, there's like a definite look and style and approach.
Right.
To a lot of the people that were, especially the initial group. It's really expanded now, and it's got a long ways to go yet, but...
The interesting thing about the viewpoint you describe is that Sing Out couldn't be an omnibus organization, an umbrella organization. They have their library and they put out a magazine every few months.
That's pretty limited.
And they got a lot of work to do to get that magazine out.
Certainly up here, it doesn't have the impact that it's had down there.
Mm-hmm.
We did a 40th anniversary concert for them, and people don't know who Sing Out is.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
They just, they sold out in Chicago or whatever, but it's not. I mean, certain people do, and a certain age group does, but that's...
I was just going to say, I'm not sure it has the impact in the States Mark might think it has. I know about it. You would know about it even if you lived down here, but other people don't know about it.
Yeah, of course not. I mean, in terms of music, entertainment, whatever, it's only a very small percentage of the population that participates anyway.
Sure.
I mean, most of my extended family lives here,
right.
And all of my immediate family volunteered on the festival, because I was involved for 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And only one of my 8 aunts or whatever ever went, and none of my cousins.
Yeah.
It's like just not what they do.
Sure.
Or wrestling, or who knows.
Now, both Shelley Ramalis and the guy Sandy Payton told me that they were voices for what they call the backyard singers, or maybe the back porch singers. I forget the phrase.
Definitely, and Shelley too.
Did their distinction between backyard singers and others, whoever those others might be, I don't know, stage singers, whatever.
Yeah, professionals.
Professionals. Did that have an impact on people? Did people talk a lot about...
I mean, that's why we had such a hard time defining it, because we were trying to be so inclusive.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also why, so that we have auxiliary members. And it's also one of the reasons that we have the weighted voting.
Right.
Because they didn't want the individual to overtake the organizations, although I was involved in the count for several years.
Counting the board elections, yeah.
Counting the ballots.
Right.
And people didn't use their weighted vote.
Oh, interesting. Uh-huh.
So I never and I've never heard of weighted voting. I mean, like I said, I've never been involved in the structure of something before.
Right.
And I didn't understand it. I still don't understand it exactly.
Well, it sounds if they decided to go with more votes to organizations, there was an effort to make sure those backyard singers didn't carry the day. Didn't carry the day.
No, because it wasn't ever meant. I mean, it was people who were involved in the business.
Right. That
were there, by and large.
Mm-hmm.
And some supporters,
Right.
Volunteers and whatever. And But really, it's the people that, and it certainly wasn't the singer-songwriter aspect that's involved now.
Sure.
I mean, I find that a lot of times it leans more to that than it does doing things for the business end. And for me, I don't really care at this point because I'm not working, and this is sort of the way I keep my hand in, is by being involved.
Right.
I don't make my living that way anymore.
Right. Now, you were with Vancouver, you said, for 16 years?
Yeah, I worked full-time there for 13, and I was involved from the very beginning.
And what did you leave as? What was your position when
I
you...
was administrator.
Okay. So, essentially, you put on the festival? Or...
Yeah, along with the artistic director,
okay.
Coordinator, as he was called, because he was the, he oversaw everything.
I see.
And I just did all the detail.
Okay. And that was a full-time job? You worked there year-round?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, interesting.
We also did like 30 to 50 concerts a year, and we had what is now Festival Distribution was our record distribution company.
Right.
And we had a small recording company, too.
Right.
So we were just busy all the time.
Now, was there... Was it understood from the outset that this organization was going to be about, at the bottom line, selling tickets, selling records, things of that nature, getting...
Well, certainly helped. I mean, that was a big fear of the P word, professional.
There was a fear of that.
Yeah.
But not by Jim Hirsch, I would assume, or Mark Moss, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a big fear of the P word, and the whole, plus the idea that we wanted to be non-profit in order to apply for funds, etc. And if you're a professional organization, it puts you in a different category.
Right.
So, there was big discussion about the kinds of benefits people wanted or things they wanted out of the organization, and whether we could do it being whatever it is,
501c3.
501c3.
Yeah.
Here we just call it a non-profit.
Right. There's a few here.
Yeah, which is what we ended up getting. 501c3
right.
status. So we had to put in...
Artmedia says you got it because the IRS accepted a totally bogus argument about what the organization was.
We did. And Janie's husband, I think, was involved. She wasn't on the steering committee, but she was on the board, I think, the first year.
Now...
I know we had to change things around. We had to definitely put education first.
Yeah.
And that is a lot of what they do. Is just we aren't educating the public, per se.
Right. Who do you think you're educating?
By and large, it's the people within the organization.
Right, and educating them about what? What do you see as what's going on there now? What does it do? Have you been to all the conferences ever since?
Every conference.
Okay, what do you see the Folk Alliance, and you were on the board, I know, for 3 years after the steering committee?
I was on the steering committee, and then I was on the board for 4.
Okay.
I was the only person who was on the steering committee that was... We were all on, or a lot of us were on for 1 year.
Stayed on the board for 1 year, people did, yeah.
And then we straws, and I drew a 3.
Oh, okay.
Which I was the only one on the steering committee that did.
Oh, okay. So,
which was fine.
So what do you think the Folk Alliance... What does the Folk Alliance do? That's great, or good.
Well, I mean, just the fact that people can connect.
Okay.
And it's re-energizing every year when you go. I used to find that, especially when I was going back to the festival and things were just falling apart.
I see.
It's still worth doing.
Okay.
I don't think it's come as far as I'd like to see it in terms of, professionalizing itself. We haven't got to really setting up in a real... It's still pretty grassrootsy, the way the conference is organized, and
right.
Programs especially. But I still think... there's just so many people that haven't been yet that are involved out there that don't really know that it's happening. That do get when they go for the first time. It's like going to a festival for your first time. It's overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because, the music's going 24 hours a day in the hotel lobby and all over the place. And people are just, they're up and into it and totally involved. It's a conference where people don't leave that much. You know, I used to go. I was also on the site selection committee for a while, and went on a couple of the FAM trips. And most of the other people would be looking at spousal activities and stuff. And I said, like, we don't do that because if spouses come, usually they're involved.
Yeah.
And people spend most of their time doing the business and making connections in a way that, and people complain about the price, but it's a relatively cheap conference compared to lots. I mean, I'm near Whistler, and I see what they charge for people going up there. Holy mackerel. It's a lot of money. But it's a more professionalized atmosphere in terms of the way they present stuff, and they have things for people who've never been and people who've been every time. And I don't feel that we really have that yet.
Things for people who've been every time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some, repetition.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's just sort of, that we have a festival. They usually have a festival thing, and it hasn't really gotten beyond the bitch session.
Yeah.
I quit going because it was pretty much a repeat every time.
Sure.
I mean, apparently Jim gets, and I've never managed to make it to any of his fundraising things. They're supposed to be really good. And there's an organizational management guy that's been a few times. It's supposed to be really good. But we really need to work on that end of it, I think. But it's just the fact that people can connect.
Jim Hirsch is
fun. A lot of people from here have found it. Festival distribution goes. They found it really useful. I mean, they wouldn't send 3 people every year if they didn't.
I was going to ask that. Do you think the stuff that goes on in the conference that's talked about in the sessions is usable stuff? That's stuff that...
I don't think for them it's the sessions so much. It's just who they can meet with.
Okay.
You know, they tend not to go to the sessions that much because they do exhibit hall.
Okay.
And they were doing showcases. And so between those 2 things and meetings.
Right.
Because they're a record distribution company, they'd be meeting with producers and musicians.
Okay. So.
The whole time. So then that's what a lot of people do. They do go to the sessions too, though.
Right.
And one of the other things is, and something that was important to us, because we did world music before it was ever popular.
I think before it was called that.
Yes. True Vine stuff is what we used to call it.
Okay.
From everywhere, and it's got a long ways to go here too. But gradually we're starting to bring in a bigger variety. So it's not the singer-songwriters, and it's not the sort of more Celtic-based and country-based. That's because a lot of, especially smaller groups, seem to have a narrower focus.
Yeah.
In terms of presenters and so on, and they don't kind of think that other things will sell, or haven't heard of it even.
Yeah.
Because it's not their own particular interest. So that's something that we're gradually working on, I think. It's been hard because there's been financial problems and all of that. But
sure.
As there always are. And that first in the steering committee, that first meeting, boy, I never thought it would get to where it is now.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So you guys hammered out these 5 broad goals. One, networking, which everyone seems to think the Alliance has done fabulously with. The other is kind of internal education, I think, which people feel is working kind of well. Sort of teaching people how to go back home and do things better.
In terms of lobbying for the music?
Right. That was another thing, advocacy. How do you think that's gone?
Well, I mean, when there was a specific thing to lobby around, like the visas, went really well. Since then, there hasn't been any other well, not that there hasn't been, but I mean, I don't think that we have helped it get any men more into the mainstream per se.
Right.
I think that it's been kind of popular to use just recently Cajun music, Zydeco music, blues, whatever, in advertising. Just because it's been sort of popular. Becoming more popular again. But I don't think the vocal line had anything to do with that. And I would have, would have liked to have seen them push more for because a lot of schools have been losing their music programs.
Yeah, like my kids.
Residencies and all those kinds of things.
Right.
And I think a lot of attention goes into the conference, for the staff and for the volunteers, and so it's easier to do, our own networking stuff, our own educational stuff there.
Right.
Not do the outreach kind of stuff.
Sure. What do you think? Do you think it has an impact on the smaller groups that Shelley was so concerned about? I know she stopped going. She said she didn't really feel.
Her life changed too.
Yeah, I mean, some of it was personal. I mean, and I suspect she didn't talk to me about all of that. Although she said some of it was personal.
Yeah, well, she took a job at the university where she was a department head.
Right.
And she sort of stopped working on her book, and she dropped the festival and dropped out of the festival that she was working on.
Right.
And started playing. Actually, she started becoming a player.
Yeah.
So.
But I guess her comment to me was she wasn't sure what impact the Folk Alliance was going to have on her as a player, or even the Woods Music and Dance Camp that she did.
Well, I think, to me, the overarching thing is if the business is healthy, if in the business in your community, if they sort of are business-oriented and keeping themselves alive, there'll be more and more going on.
Right.
More and more things happening, more and more presentation. I mean, the festival here has been in terrible financial shape for quite a few years, and they had to drop all those concerts that they used to do.
Right.
They now do maybe a couple of small ones. They do Dan Byrne or something every year. And we used to do we used to do the Chieftains here. We used to do Lorena McKenna. We used to do a ton of stuff. We used to do runs of 4 and 5 nights. And, totally varied San Francisco Mime Troupe, lots of Latin American stuff, lots of, just from all over the place.
Right.
A lot of obscure stuff that, maybe only 100 people would come to, and then we'd do things like Queen Ida, and she'd sell out. We'd make money on that.
Yeah.
It gives people opportunities to hear, and then, and because we were doing that stuff, then someone else kind of discovered, actually he discovered the Pogues, discovered there was folk music out there. And so he's been running a club here that does largely Celtic stuff. And I mean, basically when the folk festival here started, there was nothing happening.
I was going to ask, did you...
circles, and that wasn't, that doesn't get out to anybody.
Yeah, you plugged into my next question real well. I mean, do you think that the festival itself has helped kind of foster just indigenous grounds-up music in and around itself?
The festival,
yeah,
or the Folk Alliance.
Well, no, I want to focus just locally.
Here?
Yeah, there.
The festival here did, definitely.
That's right. Yeah. And I mean, I linked that to the Folk Alliance. If the Folk Alliance helps you put on a better festival,
yeah,
that in turn, I guess where I'm going at, does it kind of trickle down?
We were already falling apart before the festival, before the Folk Alliance came up with some of this stuff. But
yeah.
And Gary didn't go. And like I said, the structure here was set up to fail in the long run. I mean, it's amazing it took as long as it did. But also, he's the kind of person who drags things through by sheer force of will.
Yeah. Now, is there a revamping? There's a great lineup. I just looked at your website before calling you, and I didn't know.
These lineups, to me, are nothing compared to what we used to do.
Interesting.
In some ways, they aren't as rich because he doesn't have the money.
Yeah.
And then Gary used to do stuff. We had an egalitarian pay scale, so he could do a lot more with less money.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there is a revamping, and they're working on it. But it's a long story. It's a story in itself.
I see. Okay.
But yeah, for sure. I mean, people get upset because they have to pay to see it, and this music's the folk, and you should be able to, they have to make a living too, people.
Yeah.
And they, figured we didn't hire enough locals, but I mean, we had a certain level, performance level,
right,
that was required, and you just, you've got Sweet Honey coming. You can't have someone who's, hardly played outside the basement.
Sure.
Next to them. It's not fair to them. Because in comparison, people are just going to walk away. when they couldn't go hear this other stuff. But
how do you help the people who play in the basement? I mean, do they just have to become professional, or can the Alliance do something for them?
But we also, I mean, we sought out a lot in terms of especially non-Caucasian, non-Northern European-based music.
Yeah.
We sought out a lot of that.
Right.
And in fact, we did a Vancouver audio profile. It's called a CD, and it has Croatian and oh man, God, my mind. I think menopause is setting it. What's the country that people?
I hear that a lot lately. It must be my age.
Yeah. God, I know. I don't want to think about it. The country that everybody was walking out of, that they were walking out of a few years ago, in the late 80s, early 90s.
I don't,
near Turkey. Oh, man, what the hell's the name of that? Anyway, just all kinds of different stuff that is not mainstream here.
Yeah.
And, you know, and certainly there's tons of Asian music here that the bulk of people never hear.
Right.
So we have a huge Asian population and a huge South Asian population with music going on all the time. And really skilled musicians. And we pursued a lot more of that than, say, the singer-songwriters and backyard picker types.
Right.
But we also hired, you know, local bluegrass bands, local, all kinds of stuff. But not just people who would do, you know, sing-arounds and coffee house open mics and stuff.
Right.
That's what those are for.
Sure.
People have, they don't go from just singing in their basement, usually. I mean, that's a rare thing.
Right.
To performing professionally, unless they're really unusual. They need to go through phases and stages, and people don't seem to understand that. It's like you don't go from playing sandlot baseball to professional baseball.
Yeah. You had hit on something that I've talked about with a lot of people, and that is the Alliance's desire to have more ethnic group involvement. You know, every year they showcase a fairly disparate number of groups, but the trouble is that those people come, do their gig, and they maybe hang around a little bit, they leave. Their organization's not in the exhibit hall the following year or that year. They don't participate as business partners.
No.
Ethnic arts organizations stay away from the Folk Alliance unless somebody gets a booking out of it, and that's it.
Know. And it's pretty, I mean, really, you look at the crowd, it's pretty white bread. We know that.
Was there efforts made when you were actively involved to try and, like, hashing out, what can we do about this?
Constantly. I was on the long-term planning, the first long-term planning session, too. And,
What kind of things were...
In fact, Jerry, that was one of his things here when he was, you know, when he would actually participate, was to say, you know, you got to do this. And we put up some money to send a couple of groups, and actually Jim buttonholed him and said, you know, put your money, or Tim or Mike, one of the guys from Chicago, you know, said, put your money where your mouth is.
Right.
That was in Tucson.
Yeah.
That's not only in the performance thing. The thing is to get the organizers involved, and
oh, sure. The thing is to get
that was pretty clear to us here is that, you know, people for whom it's such a deep part of their culture don't think of it as folk.
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
It's an academic thing to call it folk music.
It's an outsider thing too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's sort of patronizing. And you know, it's a tag they're not looking for.
Right.
So, and if they can sort of, and like here in Canada, in Quebec, people can make a perfectly good living in the province of Quebec and never leave. They don't have to deal. Like Celine Dion. She did fine in French long before, you know, she did a crossover.
Yeah.
And because she's an ambitious gal.
Right.
But lots of people do make a good living just playing in the province of Quebec in French. They don't have to deal with the big world. They aren't interested in it.
And I think the same thing happens in the U.S. and Southwest Louisiana, quite frankly.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's probably native bands that play in the Southwest that, you know, go from place to place and play a lot and are, you know, they don't want to be rock stars.
Right. But I'm interested
That's another thing, and people have really, there's like every level of expectation that you could think of.
Right.
But at the same time, one of the things that I've found kind of weird about what's happened with Folk Alliance is some of the guerrilla showcasing and the singer-songwriters who just should not be there yet.
Yeah. What was that? That started, I guess the guerrilla showcasing started in Tucson, is my understanding.
Pretty much.
Now, that was my first conference. I've been to several of them myself. Oh, yeah, I've been to, I'm not talking in blind. I've been to, no, I've been to, I went to Tucson, I went to Boston, which was insane.
I thought Boston was nuts.
Yeah, then I bowed out for a few years. Then I decided that, I went initially because, I'm a folkie. I go to, as well as an academic and stuff. So I went to Tucson and Boston with a friend of mine who's in the business, and then I bowed out for a few years. Then I went to Albuquerque, and I'm headed to Cleveland as well.
Oh, are you?
So, yeah, and so I've been to 3, and I know exactly what goes on there.
Right.
But I learned after the fact that Tucson is where the guerrilla showcases started because I hadn't been to an earlier conference. I had no frame of reference. It just looked normal to me. I said, oh, this is what they do. They have the showcases, and then other people put up signs and have their own thing. It's much more organized now. But
much more organized.
Phyllis Barney later told me that Tucson was the first place that anybody did that, and she suggested that there was a lot of dismay over it in some circles.
Well, the thing is, even the fact of showcasing, period, was a huge issue.
Why is that?
Should we be doing that? Shouldn't we be doing that?
What were the pros and cons?
Well, it's, first of all, it's judgment calls. And I personally think they haven't always done the best lineup in our official showcasing. And some of the, I don't know. I've heard better stuff in the guerrilla showcasing at times, and I don't even go to in Memphis I had a broken leg, so I had a broken ankle.
Didn't get around.
Yeah, I made it over to the conference hall once a day, and that was it. But and last year I think I made it for about an hour and a half of the official showcases. But because a lot of the stuff either I've already heard it, or it doesn't really appeal to me. I tend to like the more out there stuff.
But so for selection, what were some of the more underlying issues about why not showcase? You said one was just the whole idea of choosing,
choosing, and is that our role? Should we be making those judgments? Should we just be making opportunities available?
Right.
Or should we just be dealing with the business? And that's how this sort of, up till that point, up till Tucson, or till after Tucson. Yeah, Tucson was the first one where I noticed where it seemed, I went to the women's panel, workshop or whatever. And for me, there was nothing there because it was all musicians.
Right.
All singer-songwriters, pretty much, talking about, their problems. And I'm thinking, there are a lot of women who work in this industry who don't sing or play.
Right.
Who are administrators and organizers and, concert promoters, etc. And there was nothing, they seemed to not acknowledge that. And that was mostly who had been there prior to that.
I see.
And but because it was set up as one of those free-form things, it just turns into a bitch session.
Right. Yeah.
So I went and stayed for that. I haven't been back to them since because mostly, from what I've heard, it's very similar. And a lot of what I found in discussion was that a lot of people were in the sort of position that I was, is that they worked with very strong men who were somewhat unchecked in how they handled things, and that to me was a big issue.
Yeah.
Because people get burnt out, and everybody actually gets burnt out.
Right.
That's another thing that doesn't seem to get addressed. There's a lot of work issues I thought needed to be things like time in lieu, because people tend to work lots of ridiculous hours and never take holidays, and and I mean the thing is it's not like working for the hydro company.
Yeah.
I mean it's love
right.
for most people, but all the more reason to legislate in time off, I think, in a way.
Well, sure.
Less likely to do it because they they sort of become workaholics whether they wanted to or not.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's one issue. But I can't even remember now where I started.
We were at showcasing.
Right, showcasing. It was like everything we talked about was a big issue. There was nothing that was simple.
Yeah. Was there a feeling that the guerrilla showcases were a bad thing, that they were going to take away
Well,
from?
we were a little dismayed, and the thing is, it took the focus off. Up to that point, pretty much, probably 90% of the people would attend the showcases. It was a big social thing, too.
At Tucson, I remember that. Everybody went over. It was...
That's, to me, the first time that not as many people went.
Okay.
And people did not stick around till the end.
Yeah.
And, I think the flying klezmer Balkan group were playing last, and they hardly had anybody there.
Right, okay. But like I said, that was my first conference, so I had no frame of reference to earlier ones. Yeah.
But in a way, I mean, it definitely... And certainly the jamming all night used to happen from the beginning. People would pick and play.
Yeah.
The energy. I mean, in a way, those guerrilla showcases, that's what gives it even more energy.
Well, I'm wondering, to me they seem okay now. I could see if you've put a lot of time, you're an organization, you're formalized, and you've got jobs, and you put a year into picking acts, scheduling acts, getting the hall, and then suddenly people are throwing up signs, come see me, sing that hall, you'd go crazy.
Well, one of the problems is that a lot of those people don't register.
Oh, interesting.
They don't register, or one person registers and the whole band is there.
One person registers, grabs a room, and that's it.
And we've never been hard line on people having to have their badges.
Yeah.
Come into workshops and stuff, and so they could get whatever benefits there are.
Right.
They can get. No, they can't get into exhibit hall. That's the only place where it's hard line.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you don't have to go to exhibit hall to meet with people.
Right.
And
yeah.
that's one of the.
And you can't keep people out of a hotel.
No, and. Yeah. But it gives us, we don't really know how many people attend.
Sure. And you know that now private individuals are selling showcase slots on the internet.
Really? I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah. You see them pop up on these listservs. We've got, 2 adjoining rooms. We're opening up the connecting door. We're almost fully booked. We've got a slot at 1:15 in the morning, and it'll go for $100, and that's going on.
That's tacky.
I don't know how long it's been going on for.
I don't know. I mean, we always approached a festival distribution, and people from here, and festival distribution sort of set the tone of, actually treating it more like a professional thing, and having a sound system, and and a mixer and so on. They were the first ones to do that. But they choose who they want to showcase.
Yeah, well, now it means there's no theme to the showcase. There's no quality control. It's whoever gets in there first with the money.
Right, and I guess that's how they choose to do it. But I mean, still Rounder and various groups, Green Linnet and whoever, are going to do their own thing.
Exactly, yeah.
And people are going to know that they're going to get a certain level.
Right.
Of course, the thing is, you can come and go, right? That is part of it. You can just leave.
Yeah.
If it's like, oh, God, don't like. It's pretty sad.
But there was concern about the guerrilla showcases at first, just that it would take away.
It still is, I think.
What's the nature of that? I mean, have I stated it kind of taking away from the work that people have done, or?
Well, no. It was more that it took. People were paying a lot to come to those official showcases, and they weren't getting an audience.
Right.
And people were not registering.
Yeah.
So there was all these people coming in and taking advantage of whatever had been set up.
Right.
Without having to pay anything, except for a hotel room.
Right, sure.
Or if they're local, they're crashing at a friend's or whatever.
Right.
So that was a big part of it, and it doesn't give us a real number for how many people are there, which we kind of need when we're negotiating with hotels and so on.
Right.
So people were quite concerned about it, how to kind of control it, and so that's when they started listing them.
Right.
In the book, so they would at least have an idea of what was going to be going on, and it's sort of, saying it cannot clash with the official showcases.
Right.
Most people were doing that anyway.
Yeah, you can still do it. You just can't get recognition. You can't get listed, and
now they're revamping the official showcasing again, because afternoon, evening thing hasn't been working.
Oh, it was real bad in Albuquerque, I thought.
It was terrible.
It goes on. It was going on so much that you'd have, well, you must have seen, you'd have a dozen people in that hall.
I know, and it was a huge room.
Yeah.
And it was really depressing.
Mm-hmm.
And, no, it didn't work. So.
We'd gotten off something. What types of things? You said there was a lot of discussion and efforts made, and it was a long-range goal to try and bring in more ethnic group representatives.
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering what types of things were done, what kind of overtures were made. I kind of understand.
Phyllis has done a bunch of work towards
Has
that.
she? Okay.
Working with, I know when they were in Chicago, there was a black organization. I cannot think of the name of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Tucson, there was definitely, you know, effort made. We're making some effort here.
What kind of effort is that?
Well, we want to have a real pan-Canadian kind of pub crawl or showcase thing happening.
Right.
With anything and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And, but also get a bunch of local groups organized that have never worked together before.
What about long-term as organizational members of the Alliance to become part of the structure?
Well, that would always be the goal, but until, I mean, personally, I think we need to professionalize them to actually have things to offer people, because people go to other conferences and they see, you know, I mean, performing isn't their only goal.
Right.
Surviving.
So what would you see in terms of professionalism? What would you like to see if you had to?
I see it more of a, like with a trained conference organizer or trained programming happening, with more outreach that way, and less dependence on us as members to come up with ideas and provide panel members and do the organizing and the facilitating, because it's not where we excel. We put on music for the most part on one level or another, and we don't, you know, we're not, most of us are not academics, we're not teachers in that way. We're not, a lot of us aren't really clear on how we survive and what it takes. And people are just so immersed in what they do and how they do it that I don't know, I would